how I fill up my raised garden beds on a budget. Filling raised garden beds from scratch can be extremely expensive, but it doesn't have to be. It's a common misconception that you need to fill an entire raised garden bed with soil, costing you tons of money, which is absolutely not the case. Now, I've been using the following method to fill all my 20+ raised garden beds on a budget, and the results speak for themselves. Step 1, pick your spot where your raised garden bed is going to go. I know this sounds like one of the easiest, most straightforward steps, but in all actuality, it's one of the most important steps. For example, I already have raised garden beds on either side, and I want to make sure that this raised garden bed doesn't obstruct any sunlight from those two garden beds. So I'm going to strategically place this garden bed in between the two of them so we can maximize the amount of sun available for all of the raised garden beds. Before getting started, consider where your sun rises and sets on your particular yard. You want to make sure you're not placing your garden bed in an area that's going to get little to no light. Most annual crops such as tomatoes, peppers, carrots, onions thrive in at least 8 to 10 hours of sun or more a day. Now that I've picked the perfect spot, let's fill this garden bed. The perfect garden bed consists of many layers. Think about if you were to fill an entire garden bed full of soil exclusively, you would have a lack of aeration and you would also create a very dense environment. The drainage would be extremely poor, and not to mention the cost would be astronomical. Layer number 1 is going to be cardboard. Think of it as your organic garden fabric. It gradually breaks down over time while also smothering the weeds that existed right before you put your garden bed there. Now, I'm sure to layer my cardboard so there's no gaps in between, and I try to make the cardboard a little bit wider than the actual raised garden bed, as you can see, so we can minimize grass or any weeds that might want to creep in from the exterior, at least for the first year or so. To fill my actual garden beds, I follow a 50-50 rule. No more than 50% organic matter and 50% compost and soil. My first layer of organic matter is going to consist of twigs, branches, and logs. Now, these are absolutely ideal for retaining moisture while also distributing moisture evenly, helping aid in aeration and prevent that garden bed from becoming too dense. And as a bonus, these will break down gradually over time as well and turn into soil and help enrich the overall health of that soil. I'm collecting these twigs and branches from my yard. Now, if you don't have any additional twigs and branches or logs laying around your yard, ask your neighbor and see if they have any extras that they're trying to get rid of during their spring garden cleanup. Not only do branches and twigs and logs help with the overall health of your garden bed, but they take up a significant amount of volume, which in turn saves you a ton of money when you're trying to fill up that deep raised garden bed. Your next layer of organic matter should consist of mulch, brown leaves. For our bulk amount of mulch, I use a service called Chip Drop. Now, I'm not affiliated with them at all. It's completely free and it's available to most people in suburban areas. So that is a service you can utilize to get a literal cubic ton of mulch. Just be prepared. It's a massive amount of mulch, but this is absolutely essential for me when it comes to filling up my garden beds or expanding my garden on a budget. On top of the layer of mulch, I'm going to add some organic garden matter I found around my garden. Now, these banana tree leaves are absolutely ideal. You can also add things like an old cilantro plant, an old squash plant. Make sure they're absolutely brown and dead. You don't want to add anything that has any sign of greenery in those garden beds. If you add green leaves to your garden bed or green plant matter to your garden bed, you're going to inadvertently create a compost system, which is going to heat up the soil to temperatures that are not hospitable for crops growing on top, burning the roots. The other 50% of your garden bed is going to be soil. I actually purchase all my soil in bulk from a local farmer who makes their soil. You can search Facebook Marketplace if you're trying to fill up a lot of garden beds. Chances are it's going to be much cheaper per cubic square foot than at the big box stores. Now we're going for that 50-50 formula. So this bed is around 12 inches in depth. I'm filling the other 50%, the 6 inches remaining, with compost. You don't have to fill the remainder with compost if you don't have that readily available to you. You can fill the majority of it with potting soil or your native soil if it's healthy soil. Ours is sand, so it's not really an option for us. I would aim, however, for at least 3 inches of that soil to be compost. Now, if you're filling up a much deeper garden bed and you don't want to spend a bunch of money on compost, you can use that filler with the potting soil like I mentioned before. Just make sure you're adding a rich amount of compost, at least 3 inches, to further enhance the overall health of your plants. Our garden bed is totally full at a fraction of the cost of what it would have been just to go to the store and fill it up exclusively with garden soil. If you're eager to get started planting, you can do it right away. No need to wait, as long as your compost is fully broken down. That's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, definitely be sure to give it a like and hit the subscribe button if you don't want to miss out on any more videos like this. I do lots of different homesteading and gardening videos. I try to change it up here and there. My name is Shelby, and thank you so much for watching. Until next time.